Oh, so crazy as you look.
I told you, I'm a man of my word. Where's the Italian?
Wait. Dr. Man, what do you do with all your money?
You see, I'm a guy of simple taste. I enjoy, dynamite, and gunpowder, and gasoline.
What's it?
And you know the thing that they have in common? They're cheap.
Said you were a man of your word.
Oh, I am. I'm only burning my half. All you care about is money. This town deserves a better class of criminal. And I'm gonna give it to them. Tell your men they work for me now. This is my city.
They won't work for a freak.
Why don't we cut you up into little pieces and feed you to your pooches? And then we'll see how loyal a hungry dog really is. It's not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns.
I saw those ships smashed on the rocks. How can this be?
We saw but a fraction of the monster that is Xerxes' army.
There can be no victory here. Why do you smile?
Arcadian, I've fought countless times. Yet I've never met an adversary who could offer me what we Spartans call a beautiful death. I can only hope, with all the world's warriors gathered against us, there might be one down there who's up to the task.
Hebrews 5. For every high priest taken from among men is ordained for men in things pertaining to God, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins, who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way, for that he himself also is compassed with infirmity, and by reason hereof he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for sins. And no man taketh this honour unto himself, but he that is called of God, as was Aaron. So also Christ glorified not himself to be made an high priest, but he that said unto him, Thou art my Son, today have I begotten thee. As he saith also in another place, Thou art a priest for ever, after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared, though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him, called of God an high priest, after the order of Melchizedek, of whom we have many things to say, and hard to be uttered, seeing ye are dull of hearing.
Shalom, all praises, glory, honor, and fear, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barak HaKadosh, citations and blessings, power and endurance, Lord's beloved, the elect, and judgment to all the false noises, all the false prophets. Now in this lesson, I want to go into how the Lord, he loves submission, obedience, and taking heed. Now the first scripture I'm going to start with is in Matthew, because our people have an issue with obeying and listening to the Lord, and they're very rebellious. They're very hard-headed, and they haven't really repented and changed their heart. So what you see taking place and happening is that with the majority of our people, they have a hard time of hearing. They don't listen. See, that's the thing, they don't listen. And because they don't really listen, it hinders them. It slows them down. It stops them, you know? And they don't really see the power that is already happening right at this very moment, and the blessings. And they take the Lord's blessings and, you know, things that he's taken care of, they take it for granted. You know, they lack gratitude and thankfulness, you see. So this is Matthew 24:35. It says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. So the words of the Lord, they're never going to die. But heaven and earth shall pass away. So this world is passing away. It's dying. Now, if you're not listening to the Spirit, then you're going to be, in a sense, dying, you know? Not leading towards everlasting life, but leading more towards death. You see, so you have the a good example is with Miriam, you know, the prophetess. She spoke against Moses and his wife, his woman, you know, talking down, saying, oh, why did he take her to wife, you know, for whatever reason, you know, he's Ethiopian or whatever. And she became leprous, you see, and that slowed down the whole camp. I'm saying that again, that slowed down the whole camp. And she needed to go wash herself, and Aaron had to pray for her so she would be healed, so that they could proceed with their journey to get to their desired destination. So you see these examples of our people. They don't listen fully. They don't do exactly what the Lord told them to do. They're always like doing things, you know, partially or not entirely, or always making it hard, you know, always rebelling and speaking back, talking back, you see. So our people, the leaders of our people, they cause them to err. Because they still have the spirit, the mind, the heart of the world and the ways of the world, and they haven't been really transformed by the renewing of their heart. So they can't really receive these heavier matters of law being faith, mercy, and judgment. Isaiah 9:16, for the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. Now Yahushua said in Matthew, they are blind leaders of the blind, let them alone. They shall both fall into the ditch. So you have to have the light of life, the Lord, to know where you're going and to have your ears open. The Lord said, bless your ears and bless your eyes, for they see and hear. And then you're able to move in the Spirit and move in the power, move in the freedom and the liberty of the Lord. You know, Lord's going to guide you and direct you. And it's only if you're able to, another thing too, it's only if you're able to endure all things. Like I was taking this trail, this hike, and I noticed something. It's like a lot of people, they just give up, you know, at the slightest sign of misdirection or being lost or whatever. They just give up and they go back, but they never just stick with it and just figure it out, you know, and trust in the Lord and have faith and persist and endure, you know, and suffer all things and figure it out and keep their composure and trust in the Lord. So what we have is very vital, especially in these times of darkness, of confusion, of misleading, you see. 2 Ezra 1 and verse 12. Speak thou therefore unto them, saying, thus saith the Lord. And it's heavy too, because the Lord, he spoke by his prophets, which prophets we are. He spoke by his prophets. And then our people, they stay still to up until this day, they take it for granted. When you take something for granted, and this is another reason of why the Lord, he's saying less and he's doing more. You see the floods in the world. You see the record level heat waves. You see the judgment. You know, you see the animals, the beasts changing their places. You see all these strange things, and it's all because it's the judgment and the salvation coming closer and closer to this world. So the expression "to take for granted" means to accept without question or objection, and often implies a lack of appreciation or gratitude, right? So a lack of appreciation or gratitude. So our people, they have the most lacking of appreciation and gratitude that the Lord sent his prophets. He sent us in these last days, you see, to speak his word in faith and in power and in belief. Hosea 12:10. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. You see that? And the Lord said the spirit of the prophets are subjected unto the prophets, and the spirit is the mind, the heart. And the Lord said, out of the abundance of the heart, man speaketh. So our people have an issue with the Lord. And that's why the Lord told Samuel, the Lord said, Samuel, they have not denied you, they have denied me from being their king. So at the end of the day, the majority of our nation and people in this world, they reject and deny Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And that's why they have the same ways of rejecting what we have to say, or have an issue with it, or have a problem with it, or they always seem to be fighting with themselves against what the Lord is really saying. It's heavy. It's heavy, man. And those are demons, you see. Hebrews 1:1, God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets. See that? Hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, who, being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power. See, upholding all things by the word of his power. So heaven and earth, this world, it is passing away, but his word shall not pass away. So when you cleave to the Lord and you take heed and you follow the example, you listen to the instructions, you listen to how to get things done, one thing at a time, one step at a time, it's gonna go well for you. But when you go off the path, or you do something before this, or before if you're not in order, then it's gonna slow you down. It's gonna slow everyone down. It's gonna hinder you from the blessings the Lord has for you. You see, it says, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. And this is why the Lord said, have regard to thy name. In Ecclesiastes 41 in verse 12, it says, have regard to thy name, right? So the Lord, he's put his name on us. We're owned by him. We're his possession. His name is on us. Just like when a painter draws a picture, they put their name on it. It means that they made it. That's their possession. That's authentication, you know. So the same thing with us. He put his name on us, you know, their name, the Lord's name written on their foreheads in Revelation. That's the elect. That's us. It says, have regard to thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. You see that? It says, a good life hath but few days, but a good name endureth forever. So the same thing with Yahushua. He fulfilled a long time in a short time, and it was a few days. So the chosen few, we're only going to be here for a few days. A good life hath but few days, but a good name endureth forever. You see? A good name endureth forever. Now remember, Yahushua, he made himself of no reputation here in this world, but he had a reputation in the heavens with the Lord. So it's not how man seeth, it's how the Lord seeth. My children, keep discipline in peace. You see, discipline. For wisdom that is hid and a treasure that is not seen, what profit is in them both? A man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. You see that? So this is the wisdom of the Lord, and we're showing you the structure, the order, the discipline, and how to walk one step at a time. Take things one day at a time. The Lord said, don't worry about 2 days ahead of you. Do what you got to do for the present day right now. Sufficient is the evil thereof. So the whole thing about the Lord is that just focusing on right now, doing what you can with right now, because tomorrow is never promised. So don't be like the fool, right? The fool in the parable. He had so much money and riches. He said he was going to build a barn and do this and do that. And the Lord said, thou fool, your soul shall be required of thee this night. So who shall those goods be? They're not going to be yours. They're not going to be anyone's. So the most important thing is following the example and the lead of the Lord, and that's what we are to do as men. Now, for women, you're to follow your man, your head, in Yahushai, as it's written in 1 Corinthians 11, which a lot of women have an issue with, that the head of every man is Yahushai, which a lot of men have an issue with that. They have an issue that Yahushai is their head and not a physical carnal man or elder or camp head, right? They have an issue with that. And then also with women, they have an issue with that the man is their head, you see? So that's why there's just mass confusion and chaos and disorder in many places in these last days, man, you see? Because of lack of trust, a lack of obedience and submission to the power, to the spirit, you see? 2 Ezra 1:12, speak thou therefore unto them, saying, thus saith Yahweh, I led you through the sea, in the beginning gave you a large and safe passage. I gave you Moses for a leader, and Aaron for a priest. I gave you light in a pillar of fire, and great wonders have I done among you, yet have ye forgotten me, saith the Lord. You see that? So our people, they've forgotten. And what we're here to do, we're feeding our people with the word, feeding our people with the hidden manna, with the meat that endureth forever. And we're stirring up our people's pure minds, though they once knew this. But the wicked, they're going to keep on forgetting. You see, their mind isn't going to be stable or strong. They're not going to have the sound mind. And by default, by them not having the sound mind, they're not going to have a sound body. You see, the body, their physical is going to be all out of order and in disarray. You see, because of lack of obedience, lack of self-respect. And I was meditating too. Talking to the beloved, and it's like the thing is with the cure and becoming whole in the Lord is no one can do that for you, you have to do it for yourself. You need to pick up your bed and walk. You need to want it for yourself. If you don't believe or if you don't want it for yourself, then no one can. You see, no one can. Our people, people in these last days, man, they're they want to just act they're handicapped and they're unable, so other people can do things for them, but it's man, you have to feed yourself, man. And it's heavy. Matter of fact, the Lord said a fool will not feed himself. It's in Proverbs. It's a heavy precept. So let's go to Proverbs 10 and verse. Right, they won't even bring it back to their mouth. You see, the food. We're trying to serve them. You see, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to consume that. That doesn't, It says the lips of Proverbs 10 and 21. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. It is a sport to a fool to do mischief, you see? Playing games, man. And really the whole time, they're just playing themselves. They're playing with fire, you see? Our power is consuming fire. By being quote unquote in the truth or around this truth, but not really on fire for the Lord and all for the Lord and all for listening to him and being about his business, being about his will, doing things the way he said to do it. but a man of understanding hath wisdom. And so, mouth again. And there's another one in Proverbs. Just want to get real quick, and I'm gonna carry on with this lesson. Right here it is. Right here. It's Proverbs 26. And this is just going into being lazy and not wanting to do anything. See, you have to be, let me say this, man. You have to be in the spirit, in the mind frame of like, you're willing to do anything for the Lord. And once the Lord proves you and he knows that you're all for him and you're willing to do anything for him, then that opens up the treasures of the Lord and opens up like peace and you know, the blessing and the inheritance and the promises, just like Abraham and Isaac and, you know, our forefathers did. You know what I'm saying? But they actually climbed that mountain. They actually were willing to give that sacrifice and that listen to what Yahweh Bashim Yashai said to do. You see what I'm saying? Check this out. Proverbs 26 and verse 15. The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom. It grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth. They don't want to feed. Like, that's heavy, man. You see? It's heavy. Let me get this. This is Matthew 23 and 37. This is lamenting over Jerusalem. It says, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, right? Because they don't have love. Like, we have love toward our people because we have love with the Lord. So we love our neighbor. We know how to love our neighbor, our brother, right? It says, thou that killest the prophets, right? Because they hate what we're saying. They hate the order of the Lord, you know? They want things quick, like a microwave dish. But that's like not good for you, you see? And stonest them which are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not, right? Ye would not. Because the Lord said, gather ye my saints together, Psalms 15:5. Those that have made a covenant with me by a sacrifice. So, like, our people, right? They, like, the Lord talked about the sacrifices of the righteous are acceptable to the Lord, which is our praises of him, thanking him, being grateful for the chastisement, for the lessons, for the ups and downs, for, you know, everything, for breathing, for water, for a shelter, for, you know what I'm saying? Like, our people, like, this world, Babylon, and just the society is gotten people so proud and arrogant, like they feel like they're entitled to just everything. You know what I'm saying? But, like, there's people out there that are suffering and that, you know what I'm saying, and might not have a car, might not have this or that, you know? It's just heavy, man. So this world, it really, like, pollutes people's minds and it being just so ungrateful, so unthankful, not showing any gratitude, and just very, like, just adverse to the Lord, man. Anti-Yahushai, satanic, demonic, you see? So when you study like chickens and their hens, right, their babies, the chicken, right, the mother, it keeps the little chickens under their wings always, and the chickens, they have to stay close to the mother or else they'll get killed, man. You see? They have to stay always stay under their wing for protection. You see? And that's a part of being obedient, submitting, listening, following, taking heed, you see? Which are, like I said, our people, they have a huge issue with, man. That's, our people have a problem, bro. 2 Esdras 1:30. I gathered you together as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings. But now, what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face. You see that? So it's like the Lord, there comes a time, and like that time is like now. It's like the Lord's like, all right, I'm just going to cast you away, man. Like, I've been sending my prophets. They've been speaking my word faithfully, the new covenant, repent. And not just saying it, but actually doing it, unlike a lot of you fake ones out there. And this is what the Lord's doing now. He's casting the most of you away from his face. That ye would be my people, and I should be your power. That ye would be my children, and I should be your father. I gathered you together as a hen gathered her chickens under her wings. But now, what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face, right? Because you're not following the Lord. When ye offer unto me, I will turn my face from you. For your solemn feast days, your new moons, and your circumcisions have I forsaken. See, the Lord doesn't care about what you're doing in the flesh, and on the outward and in the law. He doesn't care, you see. Is if your heart, if your mind ain't right, then your body ain't right, because you're not a part of the body of Yahweh Shai. It says, I sent unto you my servants the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain, and torn their bodies in pieces, whose blood I will require of your hands, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Almighty Lord, your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind doth stubble. And your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment and done the thing that is an evil before me. The Lord said, be fruitful and multiply. And he also said, bring forth fruits, meet for repentance. You see, the actions of a changed mind, you see, which our people aren't doing. And the Lord has given them time and sufficient time. Our power is he's very long suffering. He's very merciful and pitiful. But there's a time, and the time is here. It's now. It's approaching. It's like the Lord's just gonna cast the wicked and those that don't obey away, man. Psalms 91 and verse 4, he shall cover thee with his feathers, you see, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. You see, so those of the elect, we're really under the Lord. We're under his wing. You know, when you're under someone's wing, it's like you're under their leadership, you know what I'm saying, and their protection, you see, from the outside threats, you see. Ruth 2 and 12, it says, Yahweh recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of Yahweh, power of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. Heavy, you see that? So a full reward be given thee of the Lord. So this is what's happening for the beloved. A full reward is being given unto us. You see, because we've actually really trusted under the Lord's wings and not man. You see, Psalms 57 and 1. To the chief musician Al-Tashif, Miktam of David, when he fled from Saul in the cave. Be merciful unto me, O power, be merciful unto me, for my soul trusteth in thee. Yet in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge, until these calamities be overpassed. You see that? So David and also other men of the Lord, they wouldn't come out until the Lord said, okay, it's okay to come out. You see? They wouldn't do things until the Lord gave them a sign or told them, okay, it's good to do this. I will cry unto power most high, unto God that performeth all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me from the reproach of him that would swallow me up. Selah. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. You see that? And that's what he's doing for his beloved. And when you go to Songs of Solomon, it goes into this, you know, like the dove, the Lord, Noah sent the dove at that time. He didn't send the dove before the flood, you know, because there was still land. It wasn't, the earth wasn't drowned by water. See, there's a time and place for everything. And if you're like not on time, you're going to be late. And if you're, you know, if you're too fast, then it's going to be, you know, that's heavy, man. So you have to be in the spirit, or you're going to be too late or too soon on doing certain things, man. You know, and there's no respect to persons with the Lord, you know, man or a woman. So you have to be in order, man. Songs of Solomon 2 and 14. O my dove, thou art in the clefts of the rock, in the secret places of the stairs. Let me see thy countenance. Let me hear thy voice. For sweet is thy voice, and thy countenance is comely. You see? So wisdom makes a man's face to change, and his countenance shall be changed. So even with Moses, when he got the tablets from the mount, his visage was very light. It was so light. It was so powerful. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing similar is happening unto us that have actually received Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? On the spiritual mount. Song of Solomon 8 and 13. Thou that dwellest in the gardens, the companions hearken to thy voice, cause me to hear it. You see that? Open up the ears. So what we're also partaking in doing is we're opening up the ears of the dumb. We're causing the dumb to hear and understand doctrine and instruction. We're straightening our people out. You know? So a lot of the times the Lord, he showed us examples of how to do it. A lot of times the Lord would just leave everyone and everything for a certain period of time, you know what I'm saying? And like let things marinate, you know? Mark 7:35. You know, all the leaders of the Lord, David, Moses, Yahushua, you know, Noah, you know, Abraham, you know, Jacob, they all left certain places and things and, you know, made their presence really known, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're somewhere too long, like the Lord said, a prophet is not without honor, saving his own house, his own country. So, like, if you're somewhere for too long, like, you know, people take for granted of who you are, you know what I'm saying? Mark 7:35, and straightway his ears were, verse 34. And looking up to heaven, he sighed and saith unto him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened, right? Open what is closed. And when you can, we're only the ones that are doing this, those that have the key of David, are able to do these things for ourselves and others. It says, and straightway his ears were open, and the string of his tongue was loose, and he spake plain. You see, plain, not Lord said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables, that he that readeth may run. So all these things are plain to the godly, but they're stumbling blocks to wicked. So you see, plain. It says, you see that? So the part there says, and he spake plain, right? Godly, straight, direct, not all over the place and chaotically. You see, Micah 6:1. Hear ye now what the Yahweh saith. Arise, contend thou before the mountains, and let the hills hear thy voice. Hear, yea, O mountains, the Lord's controversy, and yea, strong foundation of the earth. For Yahweh hath controversy with his people, and he will plead with Israel. You see that? Verse 4, for I brought thee up out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed thee out of the house of servants, right? House of slaves. And I sent before thee Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. O my people, remember now what Balak king of Moab consulted, and what Balaam the son of Beor answered him from Shittim unto Gilgal, that ye may know the righteousness of Yahweh, right? Because what they try to do, they try to curse the Lord. But you can't curse what the Lord is blessed, you see? And the Lord, he loves to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly before God, right? So a lot of our people, they have a false humility before the Lord. There's one that croucheth and seemeth humble, but they're full of wickedness. You see, it says that in Ecclesiastes again. Psalm 61 and verse 2. From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee, when my heart is overwhelmed. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For thou hast been a shelter for me, and a strong tower from the enemy. I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. I will trust in the covert of thy wings. Selah. See that? And it's heavy because the Lord said, we're going to have a place in heaven where we're going to be pillars, and we're never going to go out again. You know, we're never going to leave or be forsaken or leave the wings and the protection and the shelter of the Lord. You see? It says in Revelation, he will make a pillar in his Father's kingdom. All right, so this is Revelation . So it's all about just enduring and believing. And it's heavy because Lord said in Mark, was it 9? Mark 9. Let's see. He said all things are possible to those that believe. So like the thing about the Stray K is that where a lot of people see that there's no way to get through it and they just turn back and they go back to the broad gate, we're gonna keep on figuring things out because our mind is strong. We're like the wisdom and power that we have, like we're the smartest people in the world, man. And people take us for granted. They take us for a fool, you see? We're really the fools, man. And that's the realest thing. It's so true. So when you go to Mark, see if I can get it here. Yeah, Mark 9 and verse 23. It says, and Yahushua said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. See that? And that's why we're so hated, because people don't have that belief how we do. That faith as a mustard seed, that belief like a little child, which the Lord said is greatest in the kingdom. See? Revelation 3 and 12. Him that overcometh, right, overcometh all these things, all this rebellion, all this disorder, all this, people without their head. It's heavy, just like a chicken running without its head, you see? It's like a lot of our men and women, they're like just running without a head, without Yahushua, heavy. Not even being under his wings, not being gathered, you see? Not the elect, you see? And that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out, you see? And I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name. Lord said he maketh all things new. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches, you see? So we're opening up the ears of the dumb, open up the eyes of the blind, so that they can see Yahweh Bashim Shai. They can hear and they can follow and abide forever, and not pass away, unlike the heaven and earth that shall, but abide forever, and not pass away with the word. All praise is glory, honor, and fear, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Baharakak Wadash. And that's what the Lord's doing. He's sending the word. Just send the word, right? And the word is Yahushai. Abababal, Yahushai, Shalom, Barakatah, Abababal.
I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago. Whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell, God knows. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body I cannot tell, God knows. How that he was caught up into paradise, and heard unspeakable words, which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Which it is not lawful for a man to utter.